morning on this Monday. I am Tats. I'm here with Donald and Robert. You are watching the Pitchfork Chronicles, and the Yankees have won their third straight series to start the season. And we are now on our way over to Cleveland to take on the Guardians. I am trying to force myself to say that, so I don't insult anybody. But it's been one of these starts of the seasons where it was when you looked at the roster and the rotation during spring training, they looked like they were going to be a team that was going to not win every game, but still had the capacity and the talent to win every series. And that's what they've done. And that's what's been the most important when you're starting a season is win the series you are supposed to win. And they've done that thus far. So when you look at the overall composition of where we're at right now, it really gives you no choice but to feel excited about the direction this team is going. The way they're battling through these games, pitchers that don't necessarily have their best stuff are still figuring out how to get through a quality start. We saw that with Brito. We saw that with Nesta. And so really the hot starts with Judge, with Cole. It's Glaber is another one. The learning curves, I'll word it that way with Volpe. And still being able to contribute to these games, whether it's at the plate or on the field. This team is off to a really positive start.
Yeah. You think about John Flaherty mentioned it the other day on the broadcast that in terms of Volpe, like he's not getting it done at the plate just yet, and he will, but he's having a major impact on the field. And you're seeing that his play at shortstop has been a real key factor in the way these pitchers are having success at some times. We've seen guys struggle as well, but the team right now is not even at full strength. We don't have our center fielder. We don't have our number 2 starter. We don't have our number 3 starter. We don't have one of our better bullpen arms, 2 of our better bullpen arms, and they're surviving. We're surviving with Franchy Cordero, who was, I looked at the trade. I was like, what the heck is this? I'm like, it was questionable, and he's been great so far. We're only 9 games in, but you're seeing guys step up. Ian Hamilton, Jimmy Cordero to a degree has been pretty solid. So guys are stepping up, and we're kind of on pace to where we were at this point last year. I think we were 5-4 through the first 9. So far, so good. I don't have any complaints with the first 9 games. You can look at the first game of the series against Baltimore and certainly be like, that was a winnable game that they managed to lose. But other than that, I'm like 6-3 with the health issues that this team has had. We just lost Loizaga. Donaldson's on the IL, which might be a addition by subtraction, but so far, with all these injuries that we've been dealing with, and it's been kind of a roller coaster start. We aren't even 10 games in, and we've already seen several players hit the IL, several call-ups, send-downs. 6-3 is pretty nice, and the usual suspects are getting it done. Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, Glaber, and then you look at Garrett Cole. He's been absolutely fantastic. And Nestor Cortez has been just as good as he was a year ago through his first couple of starts. He's a monster. So far, so good.
Donald, with the addition by subtraction, we were talking about that the other day, and it really comes down to what we were saying from the beginning of the year, the 3 of us. The issues when you have a little bit of an overcrowding, it always seems to take care of itself, whether in a positive way or a negative way. And I say negative because nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but that is, that's the way professional sports is. Somebody's going to get an injury at some point. So with the addition of Frenchie, where do we see this team going once Bader is healthy? I think that's been kind of the question that kind of came about over the weekend with the way he's been able to play.
So the first part of the question is it addition by subtraction with Donaldson out? The answer is absolutely. Now, obviously, I preface that by saying I don't wish injury on anyone, but was the injury good news for us? Probably. I hate to say it, but it's true because it settled down the lineup a little bit because what we were seeing a concerning trend of, and it certainly started with that game against the Phillies where we basically sent out a punt lineup, was we actually had too many options. And they had to try and fit everybody in, and too many infielders, and it was a bit of an X, and it led to that punt game that we sent out. And Josh Donaldson doesn't look any better than he did last year, and it meant that once again, DJ LeMahieu was kind of roving in and out of the lineup, and he was all over the infield again, and I think he's at his best at third base. He's just as good a defensive third baseman as Josh Donaldson. And that was the only thing that Josh Donaldson could hang his hat on last year was his defense. DJ LeMahieu is just as good defensively. You look at his defensive runs saved, it's actually really, really good, especially at third base. So it meant that we could settle him down, keep him at third. Gleyber Torres isn't in and out of the lineup now. We've got him settled at second base. And that just has helped calm things down a little bit, because I didn't want Boone to continue to over-rotate, because that just leads to L's. And at the moment, if you look at our division, Baltimore look good. Toronto look good. Boston aren't good, but they have enough power in them that they can take a game off you here and there. And Tampa Bay are unbeaten. So the Yankees aren't really in a position to take games off, even in April. I have to say, I think that Josh Donaldson injury helped curb some of that over-rotating, because now we're getting a bit more of a consistent lineup against the Orioles, and it worked. We did fine. We played pretty well. So that was one part of it. The second part of it, Franchy Cordero, I really liked that pickup at the time because I felt he was an upgrade to Florio, and he's definitely an upgrade to Aaron Hicks. And he's got pop, as you could see that what he delivered in spring training for Baltimore was ridiculous. And he did show a little bit of pop last year. So I think what it's done is it's added options for us, and that's really good. Outfield options. We've been struggling for outfield options. So this guy is gonna come in, and even when Bader's back, you can move him around as maybe like a fourth outfielder, or you could play a bit of right, maybe ask him to play a bit of left. It certainly increases our options. It doesn't hurt at all. And he's been great. Shout out to him, man, because he's just picked it up, and he's just and he's been excellent. So you know what? We tear into Brian Cashman and stuff like that, and I will continue to rail against some of the things that he does, but I'll always be complimentary when he makes the right decision. And I like that move, and kudos for that move, because it's really worked out for us so far. Lightning in a bottle.
Rob, what's your take with Frenchie and all the new alignment that could be?
Well, when you get Bader back, Calhoun's probably getting sent down again, because they're not even playing him. And then when Donaldson's back, they're going to have a decision to make. Do they try to maybe DFA IKF and trade him? Do you maybe just finally cut ties with Aaron Hicks? Because even though he had a base hit the other day for an RBI, he sat yesterday. Usually that gets him another start when he gets a hit, but not yesterday. He wasn't in the lineup. So you wonder what they're going to do there, because if you send down Cordero right now, or you DFA him, you're getting rid of two outfield options, and you're getting rid of one of your better bats. There's a very good chance. Now, it's still extremely early, but there's a good chance that Cordero could be the Matt Carpenter this year, because no one saw Carpenter being as good as he was a season ago. So maybe that's the case. Maybe he's just that power guy that catches fire, and you play him as long as you possibly can. But right now, you're going to have a crunch, because Donaldson's probably going to miss the minimum days, and I think he's got another week on the IL. So when he comes back, Calhoun will go, and then once you get Bader back, that's where the tough decision is going to have to come. So you might have another month to see if IKF can get something going. Probably not. Or if they want to try to get rid of Aaron Hicks, because there's nobody else you're going to get rid of. Donaldson ain't going anywhere, and nobody else in the starting lineup's going anywhere. So you only have a few options you can get rid of. It took them a little while, but maybe this is going to be the time where we finally get rid of some of the dead weight on this roster.
The only thing that makes sense is that Aaron Hicks is in trouble.
Yeah.
Because IKF technically will be their backup shortstop if Volpe needs to miss a game here or there for whatever reason. There's not another shortstop on the roster. You don't want Gleyber Torres to play there. Now you don't want IKF to play there, but technically he is probably going to be playing the backup shortstop position. So I don't think it's going to cost him anything. Plus, he's learning how to play center field. So what role does Aaron Hicks have? And that's the big question. So I think that when Bader comes back, the only thing logical is for Aaron Hicks to be DFA'd. But we know how much Brian Cashman has invested in Aaron Hicks. It's personal at this point. Like, he's put so much money in Aaron Hicks and doubled and trebled and quadrupled down on him that I'd be shocked that he DFAs him. But we'll wait and see. Remember, he did end up trading Gary Sanchez, but it was actually a really terrible trade. He traded him in the package. So I don't quite know what Brian Cashman was going to do with this. But Franchi Cordero has already shown more in this past week than Aaron Hicks has shown in about 5 years.
Yeah, it's almost like what LI comments here and what's going on, LI. Franchi Cordero is basically playing for his Yankee career because he's not a good defensive outfielder, but the bat could save him. But Cashman's ego is going to keep Hicks.
I agree.
You know what? I think that for when Rob pointed out, the fact that he had that RBI hit and then was sacked the next game, I think that just says that they really just don't have faith in Hicks anymore. I think he's really fallen out of Cashman's circle. So he might be the guy that just, we get what we want and he gets the axe once some of these players start coming back. We all know that Donaldson, because of his contract, he's going to get his money. Right? He's going to get his playtime rather. They're going to play his contract.
Hey,
Pete, the boss is in the
boss
house.
is in town.
And when you have somebody like Donaldson who can still give you solid defensive numbers, if you put his bat lower in the lineup, you could hide his offensive deficiency. And I think that's what they need to do. Like, when I made my starting lineup to start the year, I had him batting eighth. Because let's bury him in the lineup, but he could still be a plus on the defensive end, which is going to, when you have a solid defense on the corners, it's going to help your defense up the middle, and that will benefit Volpe.
Yeah, well, the only thing that Donaldson has over Hicks offensively is that he might run into one. If he hits like 210 this year, but has like 20 home runs, 25 home runs, then maybe you just wait till the end of the season when they cut him, and then you just say, thank God he's gone. That's the only thing he's got going for him, because he showed a little bit of pop in the spring, and he had a home run early in the season before he got hurt. So that's it. And obviously the contract is a big factor, because you're not going to pay $50 million for Josh Donaldson not to play for you. Because I'm not 100% sure about it, but if they cut him now, his contract will be guaranteed next year, I think, because then they'll have the option for that mutual option. So that's why they're not doing it. No one's going to take on his money, even if the Yankees eat it, some of it. That's the only thing that's keeping him here. And Aaron Hicks has a much more movable contract, despite the fact that nobody wants him. So maybe you eat half of his money and somebody takes him if you DFA him. Or they just say, screw it. He's going to be on the payroll for the next few seasons, and he's not going to be here. But you can't cut Cordero yet, and IKF still holds little value, I guess, because of his speed and the fact that they're putting him in the outfield now, and he can play shortstop off the bench and third. But Aaron Hicks has had no spot on this team for a couple of years now, and he still doesn't, and he should be the guy that goes. So we'll see if this organization has kind of grown up a little bit and grew a pair and make some tough decisions when they get guys back.
So obviously the series got off to an how can we put it? A bizarre start. Tats, we covered the game.
Yes, we did.
And I recommend anyone who hasn't watched it yet to check us out, especially when Aaron Boone made that call to pinch hit for IKF. Tats, what was your reaction to the game, first of all?
One, it was a lot of fun to do a play-by-play. It's something, I can't wait for the next one. We're going to be working on that this week. But I think overall in the game I think was in our favor until Bones started playing games with the substitutions. That substitution to bring in IKF after Cordero was hitting well.
Hit a 3-run home run.
It was the final nail in the coffin. I think pushing Schmidt 1 inning too many. I think that was another nail in the coffin. It's going on, Medina. I just think Boone started getting a little too cute. Started getting too cute and just he stole the game from his team. That's how I took that game.
It was a bizarre game. It was a case where, once again, Aaron Boone clutched defeat from the jaws of victory. I think that's the only way I could describe it. And that's the thing. This team is actually pretty good as long as he doesn't do anything stupid. Just let the game flow and manage with how the game is going, and he will be fine. Just don't try and be a better manager than you are, because you just don't have it, bro. You just don't have it. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Like, it was actually one of the worst managed games I've probably seen in years. But then I remembered that the Boston Red Sox series happened. The Boston Red Sox video happened in October. And then so you go, oh, well, okay, well, we're great on the curve a little bit here, but that was so bad. It was egregious. Cordero hit a 3-run bomb his previous at-bat, right? We had a runner at third, less than 2 outs. Perfect opportunity for Cordero to get a sac fly or something in there. But Boone, in his infinite wisdom, had to take him out. In the 6th inning, for IKF to play out of position, who isn't a power hitter, who isn't a dude that can get the ball into the outfield, he is not that type of guy. Why do you make that decision? Why? Because the analytics? Well, the analytics are this. IKF is a 0.00 batting average, a 0.00 OBP. What more do you need? That is the stupidest decision. And that's what I'm talking about. Stop being stupid. Really, honestly, stop being stupid. That's stupid, right? The bullpen decision was really stupid. Wandy Peralta should be your high leverage guy. Why was Cordero getting the high leverage inning when it should be Wandy Peralta? Why are you putting Wandy Peralta when you're losing? That makes no sense. And that's what I'm talking about. All I want is logical decision making. You give me logical decision making, right? And you manage with the flow of the game, and this team will be absolutely fine because the pieces are here, people. The pieces are here. We've got a number 1 ace. Garrett Cole's pitching phenomenal. We've got Nasty Nestor, who is phenomenal, and he is legit. The bullpen scares me a little bit, but I trust that it's going to get better. The defense is fine, and especially in the infield, really, really good. And we've got Aaron Judge, who's the best player in baseball. Case closed. The verdict is in. He's the best player in baseball. So just stop trying to interfere and do anything stupid, right? You've got a really good middle of the order with Judge, Rizzo, and Stanton. And you got Gleyber Torres protecting them. That's very good. That's very solid. You got DJ LeMahieu leading off. That's very, very solid. You got Volpe at the bottom of the order. He will come through. I like this. I like this team. I just don't know why Aaron Boone has to try and get involved and screw things up. That made no sense to me. You can you know how the NHL has the overtime loss column? You can maybe put the Aaron Boone column, win-loss Aaron Boone column, because I think you could put 2 in the Aaron Boone column this year because the punt lineup against the Phillies and then that dumbass lineup, that the dumbass decisions that he made the other day. So, it's just frustrating, man, because I'm wanting to give Aaron Boone every benefit of the doubt this year, right? I don't think any of the problems that this team has created is anything to do with him. It comes from the front office. But in the same respect, you're still asking him to manage smart, and he hasn't done it to this point, apart from one thing, and I'll always give him credit for this. I like what he's done with Volpe. I like that he has Volpe at the bottom of the order, and I like that he's given Volpe plenty of support, and he's not kind of having him in and out of the lineup, or he's not upsetting anything. He's giving him a chance to develop. We didn't do that with other guys. We've not done that with Clint Frazier. We never did that with Clint Frazier or any other young guys. This is a dude that we're clearly convinced is going to be the future. I'm glad that we're giving him the opportunity to develop. So I will definitely give Aaron Boone praise for that because, there's a couple of games where maybe an argument would be, well, maybe he needs to sit to get his head together. No, the right thing to do was to allow him to continue to play and get through it and develop, and he will be all the better for it. So, although, I've kind of ripped Boone on a couple of these things, I'm giving him credit too, and I'll always be honest. I will always be honest and call it as I see it. So, I do really like this team, though, and after the nonsense of Game 1, we've come back and we've done very, very well the last couple of games. We've pitched well, and offensively, we're right there. So there's a lot of things to be positive about, and I can't ask more than where we are. 6-3 is perfect. No problem there.
Before we get into Volpe, because he came up in the chat, Rob, with the managerial decisions in that first game with the pinch hitting, what was your reaction to it?
I just said it was stupid. I was watching it on the phone, and I was trying to stay off Twitter because it's so toxic during the games. But I was like, that is such a stupid decision. And I just had to tweet that out. And I don't know who saw it, if anyone did, and I really don't care. That is such a stupid decision because I don't care about lefty-lefty matchup at that point. The guy just hit a 3-run home run. You don't take him out. You don't take him out. That was your only offense at that point, and you were winning. And who knows what he could have done. I don't care if it was – and he hit a lefty yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not 100%. I think he hit the home run against the lefty.
He hit an RBI, perfect single.
So, he can hit lefties. And the fact that Aaron Boone said he was looking for a base hit instead of a walk in that scenario, which is why he went with IKF over Hicks, I would rather have seen Hicks pinch hit if you were going to take out Cordero. I mean, I would, because at least with Hicks, you might get the guy on base and turn the lineup over to the next guy. But decision-making was bad. You don't pinch hit for a guy that just hit a 3-run home run in any scenario. I don't care if it was IKF that hit it earlier in the game. You don't take him out the next at-bat when a big RBI opportunity. You don't do it. I don't care about lefty-lefty. I don't care about righty-lefty. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter if it was Randy Johnson on the mound. You keep Cordero in the game because he was your best player at that point. It's a very simple thing, and I know it's April and you're going to try different things out, but IKF – last year came up in those situations. Doesn't mean he was going to come up again in this situation this year. He hasn't shown that ability yet. And what did he do? He popped out. Then his next at bat, he struck out, which is something he doesn't do a lot of, striking out. He's not an option off the bench, which is something we talked about last week. I said our bench is really bad. We don't have that guy. So when we do get healthy, it makes sense to have Cordero potentially be that guy off the bench that we need a big hit. He can get it for us. Right now, if you think about what our bench is, it's IKF, it's Hicks, it's Calhoun, and it's Higgy. That's bad. It's really, really bad because Higgy can't hit, IKF can't hit, and Hicks can't hit. So you really don't have options. Why would you take out Cordero after hitting a home run? That was my biggest issue. I'm like, I'm not going to go crazy because it was game, 6 of the year, but 7. But it was just so dumb. It made no sense to me. And I'm like,
bro, I thought he was injured. I thought there was no other way that you could possibly defend that. I was like, oh, well, he's obviously hurt or he's pulled a hamstring or something. No, this was actually created at the top of his head or whether it's actually from the front office. I don't know, but that was ridiculous, man. It was just so stupid. Again, it just comes to the fact that the Yankees as an organization don't believe in hot. They don't believe in the human ability to have confidence and feel it and come through in the clutch. They don't believe that as an organization. Even though it flies in the face to everything that we've ever seen in all our years combined watching baseball. Tats is 150 years for you. It's about 3 decades for me and 3 decades for Rob, but all combined, we've seen a lot of baseball. We know the hot actually exists and cold exists. IKF is cold right now. And Cordero is hot. So ride the hot hand. Exactly. And finally, Boone learned that lesson and allowed Cordero to come through and get the hit without pinch hitting him because once again, the spot came up and Kay was like, oh, I wonder if Hicks is going to come in. No. Stop it. And Cordero comes through and gets the RBI. So maybe he's learned that lesson. He won't make that mistake again, but who are we fooling?
Yeah, before we get into some of these comments in the chat, just if you guys could just hit that like button, share this out. Let's get as many people as we can into the discussion because this is what we love to do. We talk baseball, we talk Yankees, and when you get into the conversation with Volpe, it's one of those. I think that's where you're starting to see that shift. You brought up that they don't like to play people because we're building confidence. They don't ride the hot hand. I think the fact that they continue to leave Volpe in that lineup, they're not even trying to say, well, let's see if we move him into the 7 hole or the 8. They're just letting him take that 9 spot and letting him figure it out. And he has not been terrible at the plate. The results may not be there as far as the hits, but he's continuing to stay in his game and stay patient at the plate. Everybody's going to get fooled on a pitch. That's just some of these pitches are really freaking good. But Volpe is going to be just fine. I just don't understand why after 7 or 8 games, all of a sudden, they want to refer to him as a bust, or some people are not sold on him yet. The jury is still out on what Volpe is going to be able to do. But you have to at least give him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be a huge factor once this season gets into full swing.
Absolutely. Like, this is what I hate. And you can call it what it is. We don't have to sugarcoat it. He has been bad at the plate, but it's 9 games. 9 games into his career. There are statistics just from the last year alone that prove to you that you should not be overreacting to his performance so far. Julio Rodriguez was terrible to start his career last year. Same thing with Adley Rutschman, and look at him now. Look at Julio now. Look at Gunnar Henderson for the Orioles. He just got called up. He was considered the better shortstop prospect. He's considered to be the rookie of the year. He's a shoo-in. He's been bad to start the season. He's hitting below 200. So why are we overreacting? It's 9 games into a guy's career, and we're going to tell you and this is why I don't like talking to a lot of people on the internet because they're just so toxic. How can you call somebody a bust? There's 162 games. He has played 9, and you're going to tell me this guy's a bust? Let's look at the flip side. What if in the first 9 games he was hitting like Gleyber Torres? And you're like, see, this guy's the next big thing. He's the next Jeter. And then what if the next 9 games he goes 0 for it, has like maybe 1 or 2 hits, or he's hitting the way he is now? You'd be like, well, that's just baseball. So maybe it's a good thing he's getting his cold stretch in now. Let him get used to pitches. Let him see everything. Let him see different pitchers, different windups, because it's a whole different ball game at the major league level compared to AAA and AA. We know this. It's 9 effing games. Anyone who is overreacting to a rookie in his first, not even double digits yet, and we are getting on him and calling him a bust, this fan base is toxic and it needs to stop, because if he had started hot, this whole narrative that he is the greatest shortstop, he's going to be Jeter, blah, 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 it needs to end, because he might go in the next 9 games. He might go on an absolute tear, and you're going to forget completely about what he did in his first 9 games. He had a really nice triple the other day that probably should have been a home run in a lot of other places, but it's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Give it time. If you're going to judge a player in Major League Baseball off of 9 games, go watch another sport, because there is too much baseball left to go. It's so stupid that we are having to have this conversation not even 10 games into the season. We're calling a guy a bust. It's so stupid.
Julio Rodriguez.
Hold on, before you put your 2 cents in, Donald, I just have one quick question. Which situation, which at-bat from Volpe cost the Yankees a game? None.
Doesn't even have to do with that. Just let the kid get better with each at bat. He has looked bad. Let's call it what it is. But that's part of the learning curve. He struck out a lot. He's over swinging, whatever it may be. He's a little anxious to try to get the hit out of the way. Let him get on a little stretch. Maybe he'll have a 2-hit game, and then he'll start like Ozzie Cabrera had a rough start last year, and then he got it going. Aaron Judge was terrible in his rookie year in 2016, and then he came out in 2017 and he hit 52 home runs. So whatever the number was, it was over 50. Give it time. There's too much proof to say it will get better. And I hate that we have to have this conversation about a guy after 9 games.
That's it. I mean, remember, Julio Rodriguez struggled initially upon being first called up. It's actually natural. This is actually a good thing. I actually take this as a positive. And it sounds funny, but it means that it's more realistic if you struggle right out the gate, learn and develop and get better. It shows that you're taking a trajectory and a career path. It's almost like fool's gold if you come out right out of the gate and you bat 500. It's a little bit like fool's gold because there's going to be an eventual decline. I much prefer slow and steady wins the race, and I think that's what's going to happen with him, man. Just allow him to develop, and the Yankees are right to have him at the bottom of the order. And to be honest, he actually looked pretty good right off the gate. He got a couple of hits in there. He was drawing walks and he was stealing bases. He's in a little bit of a quiet period, but that triple shows everything that we need to know that he's got it in his locker. So I can't address the toxicity that is in a small percentage of the fan base because it gives the fan base a bad name. For by and large, like there's a lot of support and there will be a lot of support for Volpe. So I don't want to overly talk about the toxic minority, and it's a very small minority. I think by and large we're all pretty much on the same page regarding Volpe. Because if anybody's stupid enough to say that you can make a declaration on his career after 7 games, then you're out of your freaking mind. Then you're out of your mind. You seek help and you go and wrap yourself in a towel or a bed sheet and take yourself to a mental institution and don't ever go on Twitter again. You're that stupid. It's that simple. Oh, I've seen everything that I've needed to see. That Volpe is a bust after 7 games. You are deranged. You should not be allowed on Twitter. Right? So that I don't want to draw attention to those type of people. By and large, the vast majority of us know the Volpe will take time and he'll be very, very good. And I'm very, very excited for him. And that's all I've got to say on that.
I think, Ivan, you're talking about Gunnar Henderson because Rutschman's been great to start the season.
Yeah, well, also last year when Rutschman came up, he had the same slide where it wasn't right off the bat he was killing the ball. This year, Rutschman's is kind of putting a little bit more together, being into his second season. But no, Gunderson's not tearing the cover off the ball either. So this is just the way it is. You know, we were all crying that we wanted more youth on the team, that we wanted to see these players. Now that we're getting a chance to see them, we also get to see how they handle the adversity of having a little bit of a struggle. You know, what are they going to do to get out of it? Are they just going to stay in their game and just say, look, I know what got me here. It's going to work itself out. I think that's the stage that Volpe's in right now. He's not trying to make drastic adjustments. He's just trying to, all right, I trust what I'm able to do. It's going to all come together. I'm just going to stay on the path that I'm on. You know, it's going to, like you said, Donald, you brought up the triple. You know, we were all going, when is he going to get that big hit to spark this offense? Well, he got it. You know, so it's going to come. I am not concerned at all. You know, TC brings up, you know, if he's hitting 150 in May, maybe there's something to take a deeper look at. But it's still, we're not even 2 weeks into the season. Let's just relax a little bit.
Yeah, we said it going into the season. We got to stress patience with him. And the fact that we're already, it is April, what is today, the 10th? April 10th. We are 9 games into a 162-game season, and we're having to have this conversation already. I would rather I wouldn't want this conversation, but if this was May or the end of May or maybe June, then maybe we'd be like, okay, well, it might be something to this, not even bus talk, but he's struggling. They got to figure something out. Maybe they do have to send him down to work on some stuff, but it's April 10th. Why are we even talking about this is the big question. We shouldn't be. It's a stupid thing to talk about because if you're going to call anybody a bust after 9 games, like Donald said, go get your head checked, please. I'm begging you, go get your head checked. Because there's no shot this kid's going to be labeled a bust after 9 games.
Yeah. No, it's.
I think you put it nicer than I did.
So let's get into this Cleveland series. We got a big game with Cleveland tonight because Cleveland kind of gave us a run for our money and kind of made our postseason a lot more stressful than it should have been. Does that? How do you think the Yankees are going to approach the team at this day, early in the season, after the struggle, after kind of the battle that we had to go through to get past them in October?
Well, one thing we do know is we hit Bieber pretty well, which is weird because he's really good. Usually those kind of pitchers, it's kind of the opposite with us. But I just want them to keep taking series. And the one thing that Cleveland is going to do, they add a little bit of pop with Bell to their lineup, but they are going to work the counts. They're going to hit you to death, and that's what did us in for those 2 losses in the series last year. They just continue to put good at bats together, and they get those kind of squeaky hits or those cheap hits, if you call it that. But they got to avoid it. That's really it. Just avoid that, and hopefully Herman can just be a little bit better tonight because he was up and down his first start. We'll see if he can give us a good 5 or 6 innings. That'd be great.
Is it Herman or Cole tonight?
It's Herman.
Oh, because I thought MLB had Cole listed. Yeah, MLB has Cole listed for tomorrow. My fault. So it's Herman, Cole, and then Schmidt.
So you got to take the first 2 games, basically, is what they're saying.
No, we really need Herman's got to set it up for Cole to give us the series. Because I don't have the faith that Schmidt's going to be able to win a rubber game. I really don't.
So we got at least 11 in the chat. Everyone in the chat, hit the like button if you haven't already done so. That would be much appreciated. the MH, much appreciated. Thank you for joining in, man. Really good to see you again. Right, so Herman got to do a little better than he was last start, but no overly concerned. More concerned about Clark Schmidt. I'm a little worried about his ability to put away pitchers, put away batters. So that's something that we need to pay attention to moving forward. But Herman, I think Herman's going to be fine. Not too worried about Herman. I'm not worried about our starting rotation. I think our starting rotation is in good shape. Once we get Rodon back, hopefully sooner the better, then it's going to look pretty legit with Garrett Cole, Nasty Nestor, Rodon. That's as good as you're going to get. That's as good a front 3 as you're going to get in any rotation in baseball. So that's just terrific. Really happy with Nasty Nestor, man. I love that he's just in such a rhythm, man. It's like he's so comfortable with the pitch clock. Like it almost benefits him, if anything. And same with Garrett Cole. I think that Garrett Cole, the pitch clock benefits him too. Like there's no real time for him to linger on what perfect pitch to throw. He's just letting loose, and he's letting loose 100-mile-an-hour fastballs and blowing past people. So we've got a really nice mix there between our 2 aces, where Nestor is more finesse and angles and hilarious windups, and Garrett Cole is just pure ace material. So I think that's one of our major benefits this year. So I'm gonna bring to you guys thing that I think we should maybe touch on. 3 positives and 3 concerns so far this year in the first 9 games. The 3 positives, 3 concerns, and we're going to start with our host, Uncle Tats.
All right, the 3 concerns is Schmidt. I need to see the starter that we were hoping for. I think that's going to be a big concern for me. The bench is a big concern. I don't like our bench. It's very weak. When you have to figure out how to completely realign your whole field just to squeeze a couple of these guys in, and they're still going to be out of position, that's a problem. And so that's 2. And the 3rd concern is Boone. Boone's got to stay out of the way of this team.
That's my guy.
Tats
bringing the fire.
We saw and was able to react in on live the stupid mistakes that he can make, and he does them a lot. And we didn't see them as often the early season last year, and then the second half, Boone just came out and said, "Oh, here I am," just completely derailed this whole team. So I think Boone is a big concern. I think the bench coach needs to be in his ear a lot more. The positives, cold start to the season. I think coming out of the gate hot, I think is very important for just the overall morale of the rotation and the pitching staff overall. Because when he's right, everybody else follows his lead. So that's a positive for me. Judge's hot start. It is not in his head that now he's got the contract. He's got the captain's title. Both of them very well deserved, but he's playing like he's still wanting. He's still playing like he's trying to get a contract, and I like that that battle in him. And Glaber, I think Glaber's been another positive. I think the start that he's having, the aggressiveness. We gave him the on the upper deck yesterday. We were saying how he's been so patient at the plate. And then yesterday he started swinging at everything first pitch. And I'm going, we just gave you a compliment. You embarrassed us. But I just think that was, I'm not going to take yesterday into too much of a definition of what he is, because we've seen in the first 7 games a whole new Glaber that we've been waiting for. And so those are my 3 concerns and my 3 positives.
My guy, Rob.
All right, concerns. Clark Schmidt so far is a concern for me. I know he's working on a new pitch, but the fact that he just doesn't look very – I know it's only 2 starts, so I'm willing to give him at least the end of the month before we make a big decision on him, because we're going to have to wait that long to get guys back. But for now, he's a concern. 2 is the health of this team, because we're seeing the injury bugs kind of trickle down to AAA. Now, Peraza – dealing with the hamstring. They don't think it's too serious, but it just feels like every day we're seeing somebody else dealing with, whether King having a dead arm, Loizaga is on the shelf now. We just lost Donaldson. We've already been down a few guys. So I'm just hoping that this team can stay healthy, because that's the biggest thing. If we're healthy, we're going to win a lot of games. If we deal with a lot of injuries, then it's going to be a struggle. So for now, a little bit concerned about the health, but we'll see how that goes. Third concern, I'd have to go the bench. Hicks sucks. IKF just doesn't really provide you anything. I don't like Higashioka. I'm praying that Austin Wells gets healthy soon, because I need a little bit of offense. At least I know Trevino is great defensively, but Higgy hasn't been that good to me the last couple of years, and he was getting hyped up a lot from the fan base, and I don't see it with him. And positives, well, the captain. He's been fantastic, and you're just going to lump them all together. The offensive guys, the usual suspects, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, LeMahieu, they've all been great. Torres. Positive number 2, Garrett Cole, Johnny Brito, man. How about Johnny Brito? That I love this kid. He's been – the fact that he did not have his best stuff the other day, and he was able to navigate through 5, and he struggled through it, but it was a tough struggle, and he ended up only giving up a run. That's some good stuff right there. So 2 starts in, I've seen a lot of good stuff from Brito, and I think he's working on a put-away pitch, which so far seems to be his changeup. But it looks like he's trying to get a slider and a curveball going. So he needs a third pitch is what they've been saying, and we're seeing it. But looked pretty good the other day despite not having his best stuff. And positive number 3, Clay Holmes looked really good yesterday. So I'll say that. I think Clay Holmes, when he has his stuff working, that sinker is freaking disgusting. Like it looks more like a screwball now. So if he can get that thing working like it was last year and keep that going and avoid that Aroldis Chapman type of slump, then he's going to be a lockdown closer for us like he was at the first half last year. So those are my positives and negatives.
All right. Well, my positive number 1 is French fries. Franchy Cordero. You know how important it is that he started well? It meant less Aaron Hicks, or almost no Aaron Hicks. I meant very little IKF. So that is a big benefit right there for Franchy Cordero. Franchy Cordero is batting 357, 400 OPS. 1257 OPS, and 400 OBP, and 2 home runs and 7 RBIs in just 4 games and 14 at-bats. That's really legit, man. And again, it's really saved us. So that's positive number 1. Can't say enough about Frenchie. Positive number 2, we really needed Stanton to A, be healthy, and B, really turn things around after a struggle post All-Star break last year. And he's delivered. 918 OPS, 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's off to an excellent start. And then, of course, Aaron Judge. I'm not going to list as positive. I'm going to lump the two together. Bear with me one moment.
While he's fixing his mic real quick, with the whole Frenchie fries, I have a really bad dad joke, but it's, just remember, all right, Frenchie fries are better than Hick sticks, all right? I want to see as many more of Frenchie as possible, and you can blame that on Donald.
You could have kept that one to yourself. I know you warned us that it was a bad dad joke. Who even likes fish? I know it was like a nod towards fish sticks, because who the heck likes fish sticks anyway?
No, I don't know anybody.
And now I can't stop thinking about that South Park joke.
Exactly.
You know what you've done to me? You see what you did? Your terrible dad joke just opened up a wormhole.
As I was saying, Stanton is a positive number 2 for me. I think he's really important. And positive number 3, I'm going to go with Nasty Nestor and Garrett Cole combined. We desperately needed them to be really good because of the injuries that we've had to the rotation, some of the question marks. And Garrett Cole looks as good as I've ever seen him. So that's my big positive. And Nasty Nestor, again, it's so important how he gets off to a good start, and he's done that. So those are my 3 positives. The weaknesses, I think you guys have pretty much covered it. My concerns, I would say, Mike King is a concern of mine, just because of his velocity. We need to get his velocity back. I don't know whether he's fully healthy or not. He was hitting 92 on the gun. And that's not enough, although he's still getting enough variation with the changeup and the fastball that he's still getting guys out front a little bit, but still we need to get his arm a little bit stronger and need to get that velocity up a little bit. So I think that's one. My other weakness would be Clark Schmidt, 100%. Again, he doesn't have a put-away pitch. That's his biggest problem. He does not have a put-away pitch, so that's something that's really, really important that he just doesn't have. So I don't think he's the future. I gave him every opportunity. I just don't think he's the future. You can't be a reliable starting pitcher if you can't get guys out. Once you go up 2 strikes, he just doesn't have a put-away pitch. So that's my second weakness. And third, glut of infielders. We've still got too many, and it leads to over-rotation. So that's my third concern. Once Josh Donaldson's back, are we going to go right back to where we were, punting games like they did against the Phillies, sending out that punt lineup? So that's probably what I would say is my third concern, just the glut of infielders. And once Josh Donaldson back, I think the Yankees might be hamstrung again to try and force him back in the lineup, and then it causes all those problems again, which we saw the first few games of the year.
Yeah, I think that it's pretty much in conjunction with everybody else. Schmidt's got to step up a little bit more. Hicks needs to go. Believe me, it'll be expensive champagne, Ivan, but I think we'll all pay our share for it. There's so much. I think there are a lot more positives than negatives at this stage of the season, even with some of the injuries, because we've seen that they've been able to overcome them. It's just a matter of the manager putting these guys in the right spot at the right time. Not pinch hitting for somebody after they've hit a 3-run home run in their next at bat. You see a pitcher struggling, don't force him out there for another inning in a tight game. Get that bullpen going. You have the bullpen depth. There are days off built into the beginning of the season where you don't have to worry about playing 20 straight games yet. So don't be, don't hesitate to win the game. I think that's going to be a big thing for Boone. Don't hesitate to win. So, but I want to thank everybody in the chat.
Agreed.
Fortune, TC, Anthony Medina, Li. We had the boss Pete Simonetti hopped on at the beginning of the show. Big thanks to him. I know he's been busy, and I can't wait for those tickets for September 23rd to come up, because I'll be buying them right away. But just remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Check us all out on our social media. And as always, wear your pinstripes with pride and play hard.
Salute.